everybody, this is Tank and Trucker, and today we're going to review the Strv 103-0, the Tier 9 Swede Tank Destroyer. If anybody's seen my review of the Tier 8, I'm going to eat my words right now because I said I'd never buy the Tier 9 or Tier 8. But after seeing a couple of these in battle and seeing just how hard they were to pen, I thought, and seeing the damage they were doing, I thought, maybe this thing's a little more than it's cracked up to be. So I went ahead and researched the Tier 9 and bought it today. I've got enough to get the Tier 10. I've got like let's look. Yeah, almost 1.2 million experience that I can buy back, but the problem is I only have 1.8 million credits, and it's 6.1 million credits for the Tier 10. But anyway, so I bought it, took it into a match, and I was pleasantly surprised. But we're going to do a review of it, and then I'll go over the gameplay with you. So what do you get? You get 1,500 hit points in a Tier 9 Tank Destroyer, which, don't quote me, but I believe that's a little low for a Tier 9 Tank Destroyer. But Lubus fine but old. 16 for the 704. I know the Ag Tiger's 21. T95 is 18, 1650 for the T30, 1600 for the Waffle 4. I knew the Conway was kind of low at 1500. Foch is 1550. Tortoise is pretty good, 2000. Yeah, so 1500. It's close to on the low end of the Tank Destroyers for Tier 9, and you really don't have a problem with it being the lowest on hit points because this thing bounces rounds like no tomorrow. Now, the thing you run into is if a Tier 10 or a Tier 9 shoots you with a 105, they shoot you all day long and they're going to bounce unless they hit a weak spot on here. And I shouldn't tell you where it is because then you guys will use it against me. Obviously, you can figure it out. It's that commander's hatch. My son and I took his T110E5, and I took this into a training room, and he shot the living shit out of this thing, and the only place he could actually pen it was right here in the commander's hatch. Everywhere else, it bounced. Literally bounce, 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 bounce. And, anyways, let's go over it a little bit. So you got 40 hit points in the front, 30 in the side, and 30 in the rear. So that's, when you're talking 40 and 30, you're thinking, well, the thing maybe is it French? But look at the angle on this, guys. I mean, look at that lower plate. And I could not believe the rounds that people would shoot at me, and it would just bounce, bounce, bounce. Just round after round would bounce. Now, the thing problem you run into is if you run into a Russian-built tank that's a 122, 130, anything that's a 122 or over is going to overmatch your armor. And then, so like a Tier 6 with the D22 or D25T gun on there, standard pen is 175, but it's a 122, will be able to overmatch your armor and pretty much pen you anywhere. So, what's the benefit of this thing then? Well, sorry about that. Dog decided she was going to grab some Kleenex and run around with it. That's a dork. Okay, so what's the advantages then if 122 Tier 6 can pen you? Well, it doesn't matter what tank you're in. People throw in gold rounds to pen you anyways. So the advantage of this thing is it's like the Invisible Man, but it's the Invisible Tank. It has great, no, I don't say good, but it's got great camouflage rating. It's fast. You got great gun depression and elevation. You got fast firing, very accurate. So the only downfall is the overmatching issue. And Wargaming is supposed to be fixing that here pretty quick, I guess. So let's go over it real quick. You got 1,500 hit points. Armor-wise, you got 40, 30, 30. Like I just said that, 40 in the front, 30 in the side, 30 in the rear. Just in case you didn't catch it the first time. Then we'll go over the gun. The sweet, fast-firing, lovely 105 gun. So I'm going to go over their stats, but then I'll go over my stats too. So it's 6.98 rounds a minute, and your average penetration for standard round is 308. That is phenomenal. I haven't fired a premium round out of this yet, I don't think. Premium bumps you up to 350, and HE is 53. And it's APCR for your standard and premium, which is awesome. Average damage is 390, 390, and HE is 480. And you'll see I got a heck of a lot of low rolls in that match I had. I did almost, I think it was almost 4,000 damage, and I can guarantee if I wouldn't have kept getting those damn low rolls the whole match, I would have easily probably done over 4,000 damage. And I can also assure you a lot of players with really good stats are playing these because almost 4,000 damage, like 2 or 3 kills, and some spotting damage and all this other stuff. And it was a Mastery Badge Class 3. I'm like, holy crap. So in order to get an ace tanker in this thing, you're going to need, oh my gosh, upwards of 8,000 damage probably. Not easy to do in any match. So, yeah. Average damage per minute is 27.21. Dispersion is 0.4, and aim time is 3 seconds. Now, those stats, I believe, are when you are not in siege mode, so you got to take them with a grain of salt, because I can guarantee my aim time is definitely not that, and my dispersion is definitely not that. Matter of fact, my stats, the rate of fire is 8.27 versus 6.98. My reload is 7.3 seconds. Gun traverse and hull traverse are the same because the gun is mounted to the hull. It's 42.67, so it can spin pretty quick, but a fast medium or scout, whatever, can circle you, so try and keep your distance, but that's with any kind of tank destroyer. But you will give them some trouble getting around your backside. It spins pretty darn quick, which is nice. Your gun depression and elevation is -11 and +11, but I can't say it's negative or +11 because literally you can basically take it just like this, and then in the air it seems like it's about like that. It seems like way more than 11. And I mean, I had this thing on a hill, and I was literally just basically just hanging off. I mean, it was just like literally hanging straight, almost straight up and down. It was kind of crazy. In the test room or the training room, I was checking that out and stuff. You can get this in some pretty cool spots where you can't get a tank, so it's pretty neat. Gun traverse is obviously 0 because it's mounted to the frame. Aim time on mine says 2.87, but I can guarantee it's not that's slow compared to what you'll see. It's like it zooms in pretty quick. Dispersion at 100 meters on mine is 0.38, but again, I think that's in not in siege mode. I think that's before you go in siege mode, driving around in the field or whatnot. My average damage is 32.25 versus their 27.21, so almost 1,000 more damage per minute than the oh, forgot what I was saying now. I just kind of drew a blank. Oh, average damage, I'm sorry. So the average damage on mine is 32.25, and average damage on theirs stock is 27.21. So yeah, like I was saying, almost 1,000 difference. Jeez, getting tired, and I kind of just off in La La Land, forgot what I was talking about. I'm sorry. Oh boy. Get a freaking 600 horsepower motor. Specific power to weight ratio is 16.4, and your top speed in forward is 50, reverse is 45, and you will get to that and maintain it pretty easily. When you switch into siege mode, it takes 2 seconds, and switching back into travel mode is 1.25 seconds. I wish they were both 1.25. I think that would be a lot nicer, because you come flying up over a hill, you might have 3 or 4 tanks set in front of you, and you got to switch to siege mode. 2 seconds. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but in that 2 seconds, you can get 3 or 4 rounds pumped into you before you can even start firing back. So, the camouflage in this rascal, I'm working on the crew skill. The first one's camouflage. Plus, I got camouflage on it, obviously. And my camouflage rating stationary, as of right now, is 34.7. So a couple more matches, I'll have that up to 35. View range is 368, and that's why I went with Nas to bump that view range out there so I can pick people off, further away. And signal range is 907. Yeah, my view and basic opinion of this tank destroyer has significantly changed from what I first thought. This thing is a freaking beast. I mean, it's just... let's see what else. Well, that's about it. So why don't you hold on a minute? We'll go over some gameplay. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Tank and Trucker, and we are gonna look at the replay of the Strv 103-0. And let me tell you, I am so glad that I ended up researching this tank destroyer. It is definitely way more better than the Tier 8. I mean, it makes the Tier 8 look like a piece of crap. And running the Tier 8 compared to the Tier 9 is like apples and oranges. Even though they both have the siege mode, the gun on this one is mounted directly to the tank. I mean, you cannot move you can't elevate or lower the gun like on the Tier 8. You can elevate it and lower it. With this, you have to be in siege mode to elevate the gun and all that stuff. But it's just like night and day between these two, as in the gun handling is... oh wow, it is just subpar on the Tier 8 compared to this. This just put it this way, I'm glad that I ended up researching it, and makes me even more excited about doing the Tier 10, because you get that heat shield, and if somebody shoots you with heat, basically the round just peters out and does nothing. The only thing is they can still hit you with regular AP, APCR, and HE can still splash you. But this is one of the replays that I had, and it just is like one of the first couple matches. But I love it because when you go into siege mode, it still takes 2 seconds. But coming out of siege mode is like, well, it'll show it in a second, but I think it's like 1.3 seconds. Which it doesn't sound like a huge amount of time to get out of siege mode. Yeah, 1.3 seconds, but the difference makes it is a big difference. But yeah, I think it was a low roll. Yeah, average damage is 390, and I think it petered out a little bit because it hit the cement wall and it didn't do as much damage. But the standard rounds on this with the penetration it has is just phenomenal. I mean, you rip right through turrets of things that normally you wouldn't. The accuracy is just mind-blowingly good. I mean, it's not laser designated accuracy, but pretty darn close. But we got our first kill there, and we're already up to 1,367 damage. And I think that there was a T-49 there that popped out and shot. I believe it was an HE round. I think that's what actually had hit me. I think they had a T-49. Yeah, it was a T-49. I don't know if he's just not spotted yet, but got lots of targets here to shoot at. Just got to get them in my crosshairs. And with this being APCR, basically you point and shoot. You don't have to lead the targets much. Also, another nice thing about this, when you're in siege mode, it moves a lot. I mean, it still crawls, but it moves a lot faster than the Tier 8. The Tier 8, literally, you feel like you're on the back of a turtle. It's just slower than all get out. And with this, got another kill, and then went right through his turret again. But with this, you see how fast it went out of siege mode. I mean, it does make a substantial amount of difference. I mean, we're already up to 2,481 damage and 2 kills, and we've only taken 1 hit. And even though it only has like, I think it's like 40, 30, 30 in the armor, it's at such a slope that you can get overmatched by anything that's I believe it's 122 or above. But I still bounce a ton of rounds. I can't believe with the armor on this that I actually bounce what I do. It's just, it's crazy. But yeah, so I was really happy that I ended up that I had researched this. The speed on it is not as fast as the tier 8. On the tier 8, I believe it's like what is it, 70 in forward and 50 in reverse. This isn't 70 and quite that fast, but it is still pretty darn fast. And here I'm still in siege mode, and I'm able to stay in siege mode and move, which is nice. Whereas the tier 8, it's just, you take it out of siege mode, you will not. It's just excruciatingly painful to watch it move the tier 8 to go into siege mode and try move, and I was kind of surprised that T-49 was up in that building there. I didn't even realize you could get up in there. But you saw how fast. I mean, it's like it zooms in and shoot. I mean, the aim time on this is phenomenal. The accuracy is phenomenal. We're already up to 2,874 damage with 2 kills. And like I said, we've taken 1 hit. They've got a couple tanks left here. See, now on this, in order to shoot, you have to go into siege mode. And kind of bounced around there a little bit, but I was able to hit him, and then the T-49 knocked him out. But then, boom, go out of siege mode, and you're on your way again. So they're down to 2 Super Pershings and a KV-3. And we're up to 3,232 damage. I think we get 1 more shot off. Well, maybe not. I can't remember now. I didn't use the original video I did for this replay because I watched it, and it was funny. I was falling asleep. So I was at the hotel and with the kids, and I had been up, oh my God, since like 1 o'clock in the morning the day before, and I was just beat. And I was making the video, and I watched, and you could see my eyes closing, and I'm just sitting there, and it was kind of funny actually. But I didn't want to reuse that one, so I figured I better make a new one. But somebody took him out, and all I got left is a Super Pershing. I think it gets knocked out here pretty quick. But this thing is just, it's phenomenal. I mean, I was so happy. The first match I ran with it, and it's just like, wow. I was just dumbfounded how happy I was with it. Just a great tank. I think he gets knocked out before I get around the corner here. Oh, maybe I get a shot. I don't know. Yeah. So I ended up getting the kill on him. I did an auto aim. That way, once I went into siege mode, just aimed over at him. The gun was already, pre kind of pointed at him. It'll pull you into where you need to be. So I ended up doing 3,736 damage and getting 3 kills. And like I said, I really, that saying, open mouth, insert foot. I really dogged these guys, the tier 9 and 10, even before I had my hands on them. And I don't think I'll ever be doing that again, because it really made me eat my words. Because I've had several matches since this one, and I'm consistently doing right around about 3 to 5,000 damage in this thing every single time. It's hard for them to spot you. It's accurate as can be. It's a great tank destroyer. I really like it. I wish the siege mode going in to siege mode was 1.3 seconds too. But what are you gonna do? You can't have your cake and eat it too. But yeah. So if you guys want to hold on a second, I'll have the results from this match, and be right back. Alrighty. So here's the end of that match, and that was my very first match in the Strv 1030, and it is phenomenal. This thing, I thought it was going to be a piece of shit, to be honest with you. This thing makes the tier 8 look like chitty chitty bang bang. Tier 8's really good, but the tier 9, oh man, it's like a wet dream come true. So yeah, my very first match, you must have to do a ungodly amount of damage to get an ace tanker in this thing, because I just did like almost 4,000 damage and got that was a 3. That was a mastery badge 3. I'm like, holy crap. So anyways, let's go over this. I hit their T-54 twice and destroyed him. Did 673 damage. Their 54E1 hit him once. 414. Let's move this real quick. And remember, average damage on this is 390. So that was a nice little bit of a good roll. 414. Hit their Super Pershing once at the end there. Knocked out his engine. Did 163 damage and killed him. Knocked their artillery out for 358. Oh, I didn't knock him out, but I hit him for 358. Their T-49 hit him for 393, so that was low. That was really low. 358, 390 average damage. Jeez. 393 on that one. Hit their IS-2 4 times for 1,035. KV-3 hit him once for 341. Another low roll. Wow. And their Bulldog for 359. Another low roll. That was 1, 2, 3, 4. Out of my single shots, 4 out of the 5 were low rolls. I'm going to really have to pay attention during the replay and see exactly how many of those all together were low rolls. Because, I mean, 390 average damage, and I was low rolling. All these here were low rolls just about. So I'll have to see what it does when I'm watching it. But that was a sharpshooter, master gunner, fire for effect, and I got a sniper medal. I haven't got a sniper medal in quite a while, so that's telling you how accurate this thing is. You got to cause IS damage in a battle at a distance of at least 300 meters. Excuse me, you got to fire at least 8 shots. Accuracy must be at least 85% per battle. 80% must cause damage. Damage has to be more than 300 meters away. And you have to do over at least 1,000 hit points of damage. Yeah, they made the sniper award a hell of a lot harder to get. I mean, I've got almost 1,000 of them when it was the old way. And does it show when you hover over how many you have? Yeah, I only got 37 of them now. It's the first time I've gotten one of these in a long time. So, yeah, that's showing you it's pretty accurate. The T-30 did a little more damage than me at 4,030. I did 3,736 damage, got 3 kills. And that was 858 experience. I wonder how many shots he took. Yeah, he did 7 shots, 6 hit, 5 pen. I had 14 shots, 12 hit, 12 pens. So obviously I was getting a lot of low rolls. My T-30, you know, obviously it's got that 750 average damage, whereas mine is 390, and I wasn't even hitting for 390, which was kind of a pisser. It always amazes me when you have artillery, and they weren't pressured at all. I mean, we controlled the field, we controlled the city, 0 damage. He had 2 shots. I just don't understand. I mean, there was a lot of targets for him to shoot at in the field, too. I mean, will they go to sleep or something? I mean, 2 shots, he didn't hit nothing? Yeah. So I had 14 shots, 12 hit, 12 pen. Damage total was 3,736 from a distance of 300 meters or more was 2,481. I got hit once. It penetrated, but it ended up being just a track shot. But it's still considered a penetration. I damaged 8, destroyed 3. Made 46,766 credits after they resupplied my ammo and fixed the tank. I still made 28,208. And I think I shot just the one. Actually, I don't even know if I loaded a premium round off right at the bat. I think I just shot all standard. I'll have to pay attention when I start the the review. But holy smokes, I like this thing. I really thought I wasn't gonna like it. If you watch my review for the Tier 8, I don't think I had anything good at all to say about it. But yeah, I'm glad I actually researched it. I've got enough. I've got like 1.2. Let me look. Yeah, I've got almost 1.2 million experience left over, so I can get the Tier 10. But I'm going to hold off because I only got 1.8 million credits, and that's 6.1 million to buy that little rascal. So I'm going to have to hold off a bit. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please click the like button down below. And if you really liked, you could go ahead and subscribe to the channel, if I can spit that out. And I try and make as many videos as I can and try and make them as informative as I can. This is Tank and Trucker. You guys take it easy, be safe, and I will see you on the battlefield.